All right. We are going to get things fired up. As you can see, I've got on my gold bonnet today because we are going to be talking a very, very special to channel the old 80s thing. It's a very special Bonnet Chronicles episode. I'm about to put the word out, and if chat fills up, it fills up. If it don't, I don't care. The topic is very near and dear to me, and as you can see, I already got one of them in question highlighted because her shit has been on point for fuckery all week, and this is just the cream of the shit cake topping for Leslie Mack. A bit of a backstory for Miss Mack. She runs Safety Pin Daily. I was somebody who's both subscribed to it and was at first interested in writing for it, but my vibes don't lie, so I moved away from it. Thank goodness. Because you find out, especially in the realm of politics and social activism, who's in it for the actual cause and who's in it to make a name for themselves. And unfortunately for me, somebody like Leslie, who talks a good game, who gets you really interested at first, shows you exactly who she is within the first few interactions with her. And you're going to see tonight how she, especially in the Griftopotomus game, is awful. I'm going to talk about levels. But this is what really made me, any chance I had of backing down and not coming after the Grifto squad got nipped in the bud with this tweet here, because the idea that Joe Biden would even have to pay people to defend the hard work that his administration has been doing in this year is insane to me. But this isn't the first or the only time Homegirl has been out of pocket asking white women to give her $50K for a digital library. If that's not enough for you. No, not that picture yet. This interaction with Rain of April. Give me just a moment to make that one visible. Because it started with this whole, he didn't deliver on election promises to the youth voters. Joe Biden didn't promise the youth voters a ton of stuff. He put hope for policy on his website that people wanted to screenshot and give to me, saying, oh, he campaigned on this. He promised the youth. He did not promise the youth voters crap. And I'm going to break that little argument apart because there's a lot of stuff in the media and people like Leslie Mack, kind of like that Medicare for All and other shit that people use to distract people from the focus. There's been a lot of bullshit about the youth voters being pushed by grifters like Leslie. Grifters like Leslie, who, last I checked, think white women need to give her $50,000. $50,000 for a digital library. And she knew she could get this because she was able to fund stuff like this. Help send Leslie Mack to a much-needed vacation. She raised $4,000 for y'all to send her to Jamaica. She's supposed to be an activist. She's supposed to be talking about social issues. She's there talking about the youthful voters aren't getting their promises. She's a grifter. And the problem with her and so many others like her is that they act like she's a voice for my community. So we're going to talk tonight about Leslie and several others, sadly. I call them the Grifter Squad. It pains me to have to call out my people. But sometimes, with the exception of maybe one of them, it be your people that do you the worst and the dirtiest, who take our tragedies, who take the things that our community are truly struggling with, and turn it into a profit. They become stars. You know their names because they're always on MSNBC or CNN. They write books. They do talk shows. They run the circuit. And the message that they're supposed to be about gets lost in their need for fame and star persona. You got Bree, who made her name climbing up on that Capitol thing, ripping down that Confederate flag. I cheered for that young lady. I thought she had a good head on her shoulders. That fame bug, that clout bug bit her and her ass so hard. And now all she does is threaten lawsuits against anybody that talks bad about her, anybody that talks bad about her husband, who has some issues with not keeping his hands to himself, and some very serious sexual allegations against him. But Bree, that's the battle she's currently fighting. So much for BLM, right? D-Ray, who I really wanted to root for this man. He is very eloquent. He is very passionate. But he's another one that when you follow the trail, it's not a clean road. And what's bothersome about D-Ray is he could really use his voice to help make the communities better. But it's easier to ingratiate his own pockets and complain about what's going on. Complaints without solutions does what for our community? Complaints without solutions helps who? No one but them. Because the contrarian brigade and kids with their parents' money that want to go far left utopia will give these idiots money. I don't even have to talk about the middle clown. Mr. Shaun, I'm on every morning talk show to talk about the black experience when I barely have any black in me, King. I hate to bring up the Rachel Dolan-so lean that I get from this man, but the fact that he's made a name of himself, highlighting black pain like us being lynched, highlighting kids being abused at schools for their skin color. Every time I have seen Shaun King, it was black torture porn. But I fell for the okie doke for just a little bit. The thing that got me off of smelling the bullshit he was putting out there as anything but was the fact that he was pushing the traditional families shit. And if you don't know what traditional families is, I'm going to school you. That is a little thing amongst the black community, especially the so-called evangelical black community, that pushes that LGBT culture is poisoning the traditional families. It's bigotry. Plain and fucking simple. And there'll be people who try to talk it down and say, that's not what we mean. That's exactly what y'all meant. I was there. I heard it. I saw it. Y'all meant that a traditional family can only have a mom and a dad, even though a lot of these homes didn't have any of those things. A lot of our families are still fucking broken in places. But you just want to deny a same-sex couple that just happens to be black the right to be a family. That's why I stopped even hanging around Shaun King and his ilk. I'm sure he didn't care, because in this game of clout chasing activism, it's all about numbers, baby. And the lower your numbers were, and back then, especially on Facebook, I wasn't going after having a whole bunch of followers. Most of my followers on Facebook are still relatives of mine and people I actually physically know. I wasn't trying to chase Facebook friends like other people did. Wasn't interested. So, yeah. I'm sure he didn't care when I told him that his idea of traditional families was bigoted. I'm sure he was like, whatever, nobody, and kept it moving. But the dangers of his reach is what bothers me. The fact that he promised a paper like the North Star Online, which was ripoff of an actual black, historical black newspaper that was there to help amplify our voices. The fact that white people come out of pocket for people like Shaun King and Leslie Mack to the tunes of thousands of dollars, which is why Leslie can write, oh, I need $50,000 for a digital library. And have you gotten that digital library yet? Because I know for sure you didn't get a North Star. I know for sure that that man is sat in a mansion in New Jersey that he claims his wife got with her grants and stuff, which is bullshit. Y'all fund these grifters constantly, and they made their name off the shit that's directly impacting our community, but they don't want anything to change. Oh no, they just want to say that they see the problem. And what drives me up a wall is that they are used as mouthpieces for us. And I'm sorry, yeah, getting the focus on the problem is nice, but when that's all you have, when you are not bringing solutions to the problem, why do we need you? Why do we know these people by heart? Why do we know their names? Because that's what they want. It's never been about the message. It has been about their fame. That's why when you type in Bree, you find out she's a filmmaker now. D-Ray is a popular author. Shaun King, supposed social media activist, constantly on Tom Joyner and other morning shows. Leslie Mack, Mima's best friend, up there being a Twitter troll, talking about how Joe Biden had to pay us. This shit trips me out because why would Joe Biden have to pay us to talk about the things he's done? The child tax care credit, the actual rollout of the pandemic. Not only did we get vaccines, rapid testing, stuff that helped against a pandemic that the last administration downplayed. He promised us that he would get a black woman into the Supreme Court, something that apparently Leslie thought wasn't going to happen. Let me move that over because I need to interact and find this bullshit, because that's what it is. It really is just a lesson in why you cannot and should not follow Griftopotamuses. But way too many people do. Their stuff is very proactive in getting you thinking and talking. They're very strategic in making people feel like the stuff they say is good and pure, and it's not. So many people dunked on her. She blocked a lot of people too. It is just, Leslie Mack is going through some things. I don't know if the bills are coming due, like the travel story, as you can see here. She raised $4,000 for you to send her on a luxury trip to Jamaica. This bitch has been grifting for a while. But I want to show you the nonsense she said about how, where is it? She claims that Joe Biden wouldn't put a black SCOTUS in power, a black woman SCOTUS at that. I know we just said congratulations to Judge Jackson, but I want to remind people. I don't want people thinking, oh, you just put that in her mouth. No, I'm going to bring up the source. And I agree with Wonder Man about that. We've created so many grifters and liars. And it's not heartbreaking to me, it's infuriating at this point. And I know I'm having a senior moment. There we go. There's a tweet from the Catherine, which I like. She highlights this idiot saying things like, the fact that some folks really think Bonnet, because this is how disrespectful this stupid bitch is going to nominate a black woman to the SCOTUS just because he made one offhand remark to that effect is funny to me. This was in December. I want you to remember that, because she kept doubling down on this. The way many people believe Bonnet will nominate a black woman is so cute to me right now. This is in January. You have so much faith and hope where I have none. Yet you have faith in a woman who couldn't even be truthful about her true identity. One thing at a time, Tin. And skip the applied pressure lecture for someone else. See voting rights, which she swears she's the champion of, but I ain't seen no receipts of that shit. As always, I dance whenever I prove it wrong. Bitch, you need to be doing a 3-step. How many more times do we have to prove you wrong? I don't know about y'all, but that's proving her wrong. Leslie Mack is a grifter. And she is the worst kind of grifter because she profits off of black pain. She profits off of our serious issues that we cannot deny because it's literally killing us. She makes jokes about how black people can't swim, which I learned how to swim as a child. She makes herself more ingratiated to people like Elizabeth Warren, who only wants certain Negroes, the shuck and jive type of Negroes, to be in her corner. The people who won't push back or challenge the stuff that she says. People like Leslie Mack drive me nuts because they are loud. They have large platforms. They get people to repeat the shit they say. This whole youth voters thing drives me nuts because youth voters don't turn out. Whether people want to hear this or not, you get what you invest. And the poll numbers don't lie. You are still not turning out in ways that make people even want to pay attention to your demographic. And if that makes you mad, do something about it. Fucking vote. But instead, you just get mad, you just jump on social media. And that is a game that a lot of us older people, we are not going to win. Because this is their lives. They are on the Instagram. They are on the TikToks. They are social media savvy to a point of scariness. So what we olds have to do especially is not only vote, but reach out beyond the millennials, which are the large majority of the people that the media keep trying to reach out to. The ones who are talking about student loan debt when we are literally watching a war in the Ukraine. Student loan debt when there are states going after people's right to exist as openly LGBT. Women's reproductive rights. The age of consent. We literally have a conservative party that is forcefully trying to drag us backwards. Ding our education where people are just stupid and obedient foot soldiers for fuckery. Yet, instead of working together to combat misinformation, elect actual legislators who want to get the job done, we amplify the griftopotamuses. And what makes it harder is these people talk a good game. They highlight things like Breonna Taylor. They highlight things like George Floyd. They want you to feel our pain, but only if you pad their pockets. I will tell you something about myself. My digital presence doesn't clean. I'm not going to act like I come from a squeaky clean place. I think everybody who has a digital presence has done or said something online that they might have regretted. One of the things that is hard for me, and I've been very open about this, is asking for help. And a few years back on Facebook, when I wanted to take kiddo on a trip, it was 2015. So I'm not going to hide this about me. I'm not going to call out Leslie for getting her Jamaican cruise funded without putting myself out there. But this was before I got heavy into social activism. I would have never used anything that was supposed to be for any kind of social activism towards this. This was a mom who the IRS was holding my tax refund, and I had planned to go to Vancouver with my son. So I went on Facebook. It was the hardest thing I ever did. Asking for help, set up a GoFundMe so that I could raise the funds. I even ended up working out a deal with an Australian friend where she spotted me the money to get the plane tickets and stuff, and I paid her back as soon as I got my income tax, because that was just it. I had my religious family talking about, we'll pray for you. My mom spotted me a few dollars here and there, which led to a whole bunch of trouble down the road for me from that. But all in all, it was an eye-opening experience, and I learned I cannot fund a lifestyle that I cannot afford off of other people's backs, and I didn't want to be known for that. So I cut that shit out. And the only time you will see me asking for help is if it's directly going to somebody else that needs it, or I will be completely transparent that this is for me and what it's for. You have to be in this because there are so many people who utilize digital panhandling, and I'm just going to call it what it is. Whether you like it or not, that's what you're doing when you ask people for help and money. You are literally digitally panhandling. And there are levels of it. There are novices, like this young man who literally stalked my Twitter because they see the number of followers I have, and they don't think, oh, this is a nice person I want to interact with. No, they think this is a person I could put my sob story on, and they'll retweet it for me. And back in the day, I used to fall for those people all the time. And then I started realizing this is the only time they interact with me. They're not saying hello. They're not giving me a daily like a lot of people on Twitter. I know it might surprise you, but even though there are a lot of people that follow me now, I interact with a lot of people. If you respond to me, I am going to try to respond back. It might take a bit longer now, but social media is supposed to be that. But I had a young man that literally, that was the only thing he would respond to me was, hey, I need money, retweet this. So I blocked him. He made another account to keep having me do it. He's a novice level Griftopotomus. You got the intermediate levels, the people that really ingratiate themselves with enough people. They get friendly terms. You start to build a reputation. But the only thing that comes out of your mouth is, can I have? Those types are bad too, because especially the ones that don't offer anything. I can see those because I'm from New York. I remember the people that would panhandle on the subway and the ferry. There were some that would just straight out ask. And I never judged them because you never knew if it was somebody that just needed to feed their family or somebody that just wanted to get high. I didn't judge because I didn't know the person's path. If I had the extra, I gave it to them because you don't know people's struggles. But you could tell that there were people that would perform to get money. They would do whatever they could to get enough attention from people that would come out of pockets. And that is just the way it is with any kind of asking for help. The better your name is, the more out there you are, the more chances people will come out of pocket for you. And I don't want to mess with people's bags normally. But when you've got people like Leslie Mack, who literally makes it her point to have a big platform, and then pushes people like Elizabeth Warren, who I've already said has lactose intolerance problems, who will tweet stuff like, oh, student loan debt is a big issue. Bitch, you're a legislator. What is this? And then you have the fact that Leslie Mack herself is now going calling people Uncle Ruckuses. I knew this was coming because I was gunning for her since last night. I made a point to highlight the fact she's had to beg people to help pay her utility bills when she was working allegedly on Warren's campaign, because we can't trust anything that comes out of Leslie Mack's mouth. She says things and does a whole lot of different shit. She literally last year got white women, allegedly, to come out of pocket and said she needed $50K for a digital library of black women voices, which, if you've seen it, I've seen it. The fact of the matter is these people get away with this because black pain is real. You've seen the lynching of George Floyd. You've seen the lynching of Eric Garner. You've heard Elijah McClain's horrific story of just wanting to get home and being injected with ketamine and dying because of the cops. You know the names of several hashtags. Our pain is real and it's being exploited by awful people. It's being exploited by people who just want to be famous. They want to be louder than the message. They're not about activism. They're about activating that bank account. And what makes it worse is how persuasive they are. They'll go from highlighting black pain to leading you towards politicians who don't have your best interest in heart, like Warren, to dinging this administration who, I'm sorry, in a year, they were able to tackle a global pandemic with a response from nothing. Trump had nothing to roll out for this pandemic. I still have friends who are getting infected by COVID. We have to take kiddo to a college on Thursday. Yeah, I'm going to be masked up. I am 3 times boosted. I'm still fucking paranoid that this could happen to my family. We are not out of the woods, but we have had an administration that has at least made us a bit safer in having to do these regular things. We wouldn't have had that under 45. But if you listen to assholes like Leslie Mack and other assholes who want to say, oh, Biden is just the left Trump. And it's like, are you serious right now? Let me see if I can find this young man. I'm not going to let you go through another scrolling senior moment. But the shit people say. Yeah, this asshole. I'm going to bring up this page again. Just give me a second. Because it floors me. The amount of cognitive dissonance of this young man. Just constantly talking about how Biden is a blue Trump. And it's bullshit. And this person who interacted with him was so patient. Talking about climate, policing, student debt, legal weed, which I'll get to how, where did all these promises come from? Were we watching a different campaign trail? Because a lot of these things did not come out of Joe Biden's mouth, yet these wannabe progressives keep trying to put them in his mouth. So, yeah. So, when he finally asked, forgive me, I can't understand how you could be so to the left and think he's worse than Trump. For example, he at least acknowledges that climate change is real. Did you vote for him? We're expecting something different. Who's the politician you like and support? Biden is a warmonger for starters, which... Plus, he promised to act on many issues that he reneged, which no, that did not happen. These people are liars. That's treachery. I did not vote for Biden or Trump. I supported Bernie, no surprise there, in 2016 and 2020, but voted third party in both races. I don't believe he voted. I don't believe he voted. And you know what really troubles me about shit like this? Are these people are loud. They repeat stuff over and over again on social media. These people don't come and turn out for midterm vote. They think the president is just a dictator that's supposed to do everything on his own, that we don't have a system of checks and balances, and then you got blue check marks like Leslie fucking Mack who parrot this shit too, thus giving them, oh, this famous person agrees with me, amplification. And she's only famous because she's a fucking grifter. And this idiot is a waste of space who don't vote. And when you don't vote, we can't get nice things like student loan debt or people that actually believe in climate change. We don't have people at the helm at a high enough capacity. We literally have a 50-50 split in our Senate still. That means 50 fucking Republicans sitting there stymieing, and at least 4 Democratic senators who do questionable things. If you want to change that, we have to be the front against this fuckery. We have to use our voice, and it takes a bare minimum investment of ourselves by voting, vetting who we vote for, and getting in actual legislators. People want to do the pencil pushing, whether they're sung or not, because I need to reinforce this. I said it early in the cast, and I mean it. Activism is an unsung job if you're doing it right. People aren't supposed to know about the work you're doing. They're just supposed to see the results. The problem with BLM currently was it started out with good intentions. Those young ladies originally were drawn in by the deaths of Trayvon Martin, Mike Brown, Tamir Rice, Ayanna Stanley Jones, so many of our babies that aren't here due to hate and legalized lynching. Their murderers are still walking, still free. So when people said BLM, a lot of us heard that clarion call. A lot of us came running because, yes, we want our lives to matter. But the problem with that was too many people took advantage. They saw the white people who had guilt about what their people that looked like them were doing. They saw the black people who just wanted to stop. They saw those of us who were willing to come out of pocket, elevate their voices, amplify them, and instead of turning it around and helping our community, they went on luxury cruises and vacations. They put themselves and their families in the multi-million-dollar homes. And our communities are still struggling. We just had a young man. They just released the dash cam footage here in Michigan. Yet again, legalized lynch. It's not stopping. So what's the point of BLM right now? What's the point of saying Black Lives Matter if you're activists, if we are not doing what we can to elect officials that can help pass the George Floyd policing bill, the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, so that our rights are protected, especially our voting rights? You got all these activists who want to talk about the negative all the time. And I'm not saying that a highlight on what's going on isn't important. But when you offer no solutions, when you're not guiding people to utilize their voting power, when you're like Leslie Mack, and this is how Leslie Mack and I fell out. This is how I went from standing her and being on the Safety Pin Daily newsletter to blocking her on every form of social media I could. When she, 2 years ago, as the primaries were starting to kick off, started firing off about, you can't tell me about my vote, and encouraging people who didn't feel like voting to just stay home. Leslie Mack has been dangerous to politics for Black people for the longest time. And this call out was a long time coming. She plays a dangerous game because for her, it's about access. For her, it's about her pockets. She doesn't care who gets hurt in the crossfire. She doesn't care that women's rights are on the line, LGBT rights are on the line, Black people's rights to exist are on the fucking line. All she wants to do is be able to party it up, be luxurious, and have that reputation. Welcome to the chat, Glass. I'm sorry you're coming in mid-rant, but I'm dead serious about Leslie's danger. It's this woman who calls herself an activist. She talks a good game, but every word out of her mouth is a counter to people voting. And during a midterm election, but even beyond that, people need to be more personally invested in who represents you on a state and local level if you want better. One of the biggest arguments that I've been seeing the last few months, because they can't ding this administration on the vaccine rollout. Some try. I had a follower today try to say, well, I'm a bit disappointed in it. Are you serious? We went from nothing to actually, I'm on my third booster. My arm swelled the fuck up because I got a metal allergy, but I got my third booster. But you listen to the naysayers and the contrarians. They want to act like nothing good is going on, and it's bullshit. And it's people like Leslie Mack that amplify that constant contrarian negative thing, and people use that to justify not doing the bare minimum. I'm not the kind of person that polices who votes. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. All I ask you to do is vet and use your voice. And if you are not a person who has to deal with voter suppression, there is absolutely no reason to not vote. There's absolutely no reason to hold us back from having an effective House and Senate that can work with this president on things like climate, on things like that, all that shit that young man was bitching about that he claimed was promised to him. Nobody promised you anything. And then the few things that this campaign did say they would do that they came through for, you get crickets. Leslie was huge on saying there's no way Biden is going to nominate or even get a Black woman SCOTUS. And we just nominated Judge Ketanji Brown. So I need people to understand that it's real easy to fall into the patterns of being in with these griftopotamuses. They love playing on things like your fears. They love invoking emotions from things like legalized lynching. They love to utilize the Black experience, but a lot of them are Black experience adjacent. I don't think Leslie Mack knows anything about true struggle. I think Bree knew the struggle, but doesn't want to go back to it. I'm not sure about D-Ray. He comes across as somebody who could go either way. And I know everything about Shaun King is fucking fraudulent. These people are dangerous. and they have large platforms. They have people willing to come out of pocket for them because they feel guilt. And I get it. It's easy to feel guilty when you see people that shouldn't be struggling on something so superficial as their skin color being the next hashtag. Families being targeted for racial discrimination. I understand why some white people would want to come out of pocket, but know who you are giving your funds to and demand full transparency. Why should you donate to things like Safety Pin Daily and get nothing out of it but pictures of homegirl on her luxury cruise? Are you fucking serious right now? A 50K digital library serves who? What is she putting in that library that she needed $50,000 for? And that tweet, because I'm going to bring it up again if I can, because it was just, it amazed me. The amount of nerve to say white women. Because she didn't ask black women for that shit. Let me bring up the Bonnet Chronicles. I couldn't believe that. Where is it? Yeah, there we go. Once again, hi white women to Twitter. It's me, Leslie Mack. I know you all have access to your rich brethren. So according to Leslie, all white people allegedly have access to rich brethren, especially white women. And we need you to gather together and come up with $50K for the free Black Women's Library by the end of the month. Please reply if you're ready to step up to this challenge. You know the funny thing about this, let me transition this over. The funniest thing about this tweet, and the sad thing about this tweet, is Leslie made her name calling Shaun King out for this shit. Shaun King would put tweets like this out all the time, blatantly asking people to fund things that he just dreamt up. Whether it was that North Star that didn't happen, or supposed funds for people's families when they were lynched that never got to the families, there was always this road of asking people for big amount of money for big dreams that never fucking panned out. This was a year ago. And I am sure, especially since people literally paid for a Jamaican wedding vacation, that she got at least a few people who knew her name to give her money for this digital thing. Y'all didn't get a library. I guarantee fucking to you, there is no free Black women's. Let me double check, because if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Let's see. Free Black women's library. Let's see if there's even a website. Looks like a blog site. What does it offer? Free Black Women's Library. There's a lot of pictures of actual activists that done passed on here. There's a donate button from what I see. Writers, muses. What is this? A lot of Alice Walker quotes. A lot of names of Black women who actually did the work. Like, I'm flabbergasted. Y'all, if you give this woman $50,000 for this WordPress site, like, so at least I can take back that there's an actual website. I mean, she did at least make a website. But I've made blog sites that were way more detailed. The Griftopotomus game is the most dangerous because eventually that well is going to dry up. And there are activists that are really boots to the ground, that take money to feed people, that take money to get causes heard, to get their asses to places where politicians are. There are people who have boots to the ground constantly that go unsung because they aren't there to be sung. They're not there to be known. You shouldn't know their name because it's not about them, it's about the cause. And unfortunately, We have to deal with people like Leslie who only want you to remember her name. She gives a fuck all about our community. That's why she's doing stuff like saying Joe Biden's a racist. Joe Biden is a lot of things. And I'll admit that he rubbed me the wrong way in the primary. I was not originally backing him. I was for Kamala Harris, and I made no bones about that. Joe Biden is like every white person from his generation. They step in it. It happens. Black people do it too. My grandfather, if he was still alive, the things that came out of his mouth were not kosher. He fought in several wars. He had very not so friendly opinions about non-black people. Stuff that I worked hard to shed and not repeat. We don't have to always ding our elders, but to act like they can't change, grow, and evolve, to blanket call Joe Biden a bigot or a racist without any context to it, because it's more lucrative to her and the far left gang to try to ding this administration on any little fucking peeve. Because working together and getting an actual sustainable process isn't what they want. It is more lucrative for them for us to be in chaos. It is more lucrative for them for us to be hurting. Every fucking new Black Life hashtag is a paycheck for these people. And we have got to stop making it lucrative for them, because the cost is too great. I am tired of seeing another name added to the pile of names. If we did a memorial for people lost to lynching in this country, it would be bigger than most of our war memorials. We have a museum, which I implore you, once COVID is not ravishing us still, take a visit down south to that museum, because it's needed. We need to open our eyes to the realities of our society and the unacceptable way that we treat each other based on superficial stuff. But what we need to stop doing is amplifying these so-called activists who are louder than the issue. I don't give a fuck if people come out of pocket for me ever again. I know, like everybody else, I have had to ask for help. It is not easy for me. I still feel shame whenever I have to come and ask for help for anything, and I make it very clear that I refuse to do it when things are good. Like, if my family is good, I don't want people coming out of pocket. There are plenty of people who are really struggling that need that help. And I am always thankful to those who do it anyway. Y'all know who you are. Use constant source. And it's appreciated, but I need people to understand that I don't want to be in the same vein as Shaun King and the rest of these griftos. Because I really care about people utilizing their voices. I care about people voting. I care about things being better for all of us, even the people that don't want things better. Like I said, this world is changing. We are going to have progress whether they want it or not. But some people will kick and scream and fight us tooth and nail to not do the right thing. And I can't worry about them. But what I do worry about are the people that utilize our true pain, our issues, stuff that we really do need help with, to only make a name for themselves. You can't say Black Lives Matter and then do nothing for our community. You can't say Black Lives Matter, get a donation, and put yourself and your family in a luxury fucking house, driving luxury cars, when people are still being legalized lynched. You can't say that you are for Black voices and setting up a Black women's library full of quotes from like Angela Davis when you don't do anything she stands for. Angela Davis was about activism, but she was about results as well. And she is still, even in her 80s, pushing and striving. Denise Oliver, she was one of my first well-known follows on Twitter, and I don't get starstruck easily because I'm very team, I don't care. I really don't. I'm a very detached person. But when I say having somebody like Denise follow me, Miss Denise, no disrespect, Miss Denise, follow me, that was just a watershed moment for me, because it felt like my voice what I say about politics and social issues carried. She is somebody I respect. She is somebody I hope I never step out of pocket and have to collect me, because she will. She is a known Black Panther. She walks the walk, talks the talk, and still, when she should be able to retire and relax, is fighting the good fight for us. She is somebody that you should be amplifying, not Leslie, I need to get my phone or whatever bill paid, Mac. Not Leslie, I'm going to talk shit about this administration. But what are you doing, Leslie? Are you running for something? Are you doing something for this community that doesn't pay off your bills? There's a fucking disconnect from these social media activists, these hashtag activists, as I like to call them, that has to be nipped in the bud, because they are hurting my community with their shit. People are giving time and energy and labor and amplification to only them and not the cause they're supposed to be about. And that is dangerous to us, because we are still losing people left and right to this shit. And what really troubles me is that instead of doing something proactive, having solutions, Leslie spent all yesterday and the day before yesterday arguing with people, telling them, I know, I don't want to talk facts with you. She shut down Raina April, who was like, look, it's not enough, which I hate that argument, because it's only been a year. What do you mean it's not enough? It's more than the last administration did. She talked about how he cleared $17 million, and I think it was trillion, so I think she was off by a few zeros, of debt for student people. But Joe Biden cannot just clear off a predatory loan decision that you made on your own, especially if it wasn't a federally backed loan. Some of y'all made poor life choices in college, and you expect somebody else to clean it up. Your privilege is showing. And what makes it worse are the people that are like, well, Black women would be mostly impacted by student loan debt relief because you are highly educated. No shit. I paid my way through college. And I'm not saying that to say, well, that's what you need to do too. I got an associate's degree a few years back. It did not cost me as much. I paid it off little by little. It is what it is. When they tried to quote me to go back for animation, I decided I can't afford this. The predatory loans that they offered seemed really nice until you break down the APR on them. And unlike some people, I actually took finance, so I was like, no, I'm not doing this. And my dreams of going back to school went up in smoke for now. I get that higher education can be a minefield, especially if you don't know what you're doing, especially if you don't have access to grants and different ways to mitigate the cost of it. But some of you's made some really poor life choices, got in with predatory lenders, and it happens even outside school things, payday loan people, and you end up in a revolving door of debt that you created, and you expect somebody else to get you out of it. And that is not the job of the president. And if you were smart and you really wanted something done about these predatory lenders, you would know who your state and local legislator are and petition them. But you're too busy going, no, the president should just wipe away all my debt. I've had several of my friends who are very credible, who I actually know and trust, who actually went to college and got a degree, who said they have not had to pay federal student loans in the last year. So when I see Mr. Rando anime avatar or that idiot who tried to say Biden is the left Trump, I have to wonder, what do they owe exactly and who do they owe? Because there's only so much damage this administration can clean up. And some of you have made a big ass mess yourself, and you need to figure out your shit. That is just the reality of life. Some of us have lived this life having to clean up our own messes, having to deal with the consequences of our actions. The rest of you have lived a charmed fucking life to where every mess up you have somebody having your back, cleaning it up for you. That's not going to happen with us. And I'm not sorry about that. Some of yous are really sickening with your, oh, student loan debt is more important to me than women's rights issues or black rights issues. Even though I put BLM in my profile, that's just to find other like-minded phonies. Y'all ain't fooling anybody. Because every time we try to talk about issues that are really directly impacting us, you come parachuting in with your class issues. And I'm sorry, I am fucking sick of the populist bullshit rhetoric. Your economic struggles have nothing to do with me. We can't have a coalition anymore because you put that shit over our reality constantly and you amplify these grifters. And it's tiring because we can't get stuff done. Y'all depress the vote, you don't turn out, and then you go, see, we were right. Nothing's getting done. Oh, ignore the fact that a GOP governor is running your state. Ignore the fact that you got senators like Ted Cruz that can abscond to Mexico when your state is going under a freeze. We don't want you to focus on the actual issues with the Republican Party. We just want to say Dems are bad and you give us money for saying Dems are bad. I'm fucking tired of it. It is a constant cycle of fuckery that serves no purpose but to keep us angry, frustrated, and getting nowhere. I want progress. And I realize that the way to get progress is to invest myself politically. Is it always easy? No. There are people that constantly run a good game. There are people that run a bad game that think they run a good game. Nina Turner is one of them. I was going to pull up the file, but it is a long thing. If you want, I will link it in my YouTube page. It is a hoot. Because she tried it with Chantel Brown and got her ass all the way collected. She tried to lie and say Chantel was being investigated by an ethics committee. FYI, she wasn't. Nina's a fucking liar. Chantel made it clear that she is a legislator. She has had 11 years under her belt. She broke it down. Nina could not handle the amount of fight that Chantel brings because she's a real one. Chantel wants the best for Ohio. And what bothers me is there are people like Nina who run that grift game, who understand that people will come out of pocket because she'll say things like, oh, we need universal health care. Even though she was a sitting congressperson, she would do nothing for that. This wasn't about making sure that you've got Medicare for all. This is about making sure that she has a steady paycheck so that she can live large. And some of you are just so stupid and don't think about that. That's why her message is hello somebody. It's not, hey, this is my ideas, this is my plan. At least Warren had a plan for that, even if she was stealing it from somebody else. You need to vet the people you vote for. And like I said, I know it's not easy. We have several races coming up in key states with different Dems running and different conservatives trying to run. Pay attention to what they say. Figure out if this person is right for you and vote. Our democracy cannot afford apathy anymore. We allowed that to be our cause in 2016. Too many people played the game of, there's no way that idiot's going to win with Trump. And then he did. And I know win needs an asterisk by it, but he still got away with 4 years of being able to call himself a U.S. president. And it was 4 years of hell. From a Muslim ban that directly impacted my neighbors and their mom, to that transgender bill that he tried to get federally passed. The constant stream of bullshit here and abroad that his administration brought upon us, and then his lack of response to COVID that helped cause almost 800,000 deaths, and people are still being infected, including people close to me. A dear friend of mine announced on his stream earlier that he got this. He's doing okay, hopefully, but I teared up because I'm sick and seeing friends suffer with this. I buried a friend last year to this shit. I'm tired of seeing people die. It's starting to really get to me. And to have an administration that cares enough to roll out testing and boosters and meet the wall of entitlement, the people who don't even want to mask up, everybody who wants to just jump back to normal when there is no normal with this. This is an airborne pathogen. If you are not going to at least get boosted and social distance and wear a mask, what the fuck do you expect? And I'm seeing people of different walks of life still clogging up our hospital systems. TikTok of stressed hospital workers. And it doesn't have to be like this. But the people who are amplified are only the people that want to talk about negative. Instead of the people who want to support this administration, get them the funding they need so that people are safe. I'm not even talking about the conservatives. They are a lost cause to me. I am not here to reach out to people who don't even want to take care of themselves. If you bother to sit and watch this on Twitch or on YouTube or anywhere, and you see how upset I am, you need to know that the reason I'm upset is because too many people only want to talk about the bad, but you don't bring any solutions. And all I'm asking you to do is, if you're 18 and older, is vote. Put in a legislator that can help us with stuff like this. I know it seems impossible sometimes. We got a media that's literally out there trying to tell us, oh, it doesn't matter. The youth vote. Biden's not making impressions with them. Who the fuck cares about the youth vote right now? They don't turn out in numbers where we should even take that fucking seriously. But this is all they got. This whole contrarian thing. And that whole cycle of being right about things being bad only hurt our communities collectively. We have to stop making it lucrative for these people to consistently keep us in a cycle of fuckery. It really was, Glass. I used to think CNN was an amazing thing until I realized that the only way they can get ratings is to create things. And I feel like, exactly, especially in this viral digital age now, the only way to keep your name on top is to create news. And they're not going to create positive news. No, because what gets us clicking, what gets us talking, what gets us invested is the fear, is the murder, is all of this chaos. And we have to stop allowing that to be the norm. I feel like a lot of the disconnect from science, from education, from anything that moves us towards progress was strategic. And we have a lot of people on different fronts who will smile in your face and say, I'm on your side, while making sure to depress things just a little bit. Because when we're scared, we huddle up and we try to support somebody that seems like they're talking a good game. But if they were really on our side, we would see better. It wouldn't be about them. It would be about what they're supposedly about. And you need to remember those words. If a person is an activist and you know more about them than what they're being an activist for, that's a bad sign. If somebody is telling you, oh, I'm about this cause, but this administration isn't doing enough, but they don't have any solutions. They're telling you don't worry about voting. They're constantly pushing their GoFundMe or whatever shill bullshit in your face, but they are not producing any results to help their community. That's a problem. And social media does not help that problem. And actual media doesn't help that, because if you look, they're always on MSNBC, CNN. They're able to reach so many people with their toxic platform. It's dangerous and it's harming us. And we can't afford this right now. We are in touch and go area. Everybody seems to think that electing Biden was it. That was all you had to do. The job's not done. And I know some people don't want to think on those terms, but we literally have midterms coming up. It starts as early as August here in Michigan, and I am already ready with my absentee ballot. And if I have to go in person, I'll go. My polling place is 5 minutes down the road. I am not playing, y'all. We cannot afford to sleep on this. I want a midterm turnout that not only shuts the press up, but has them scrambling to figure out how they can spin it to negative, because that's all they want to do. No matter how many historical firsts, no matter how much work this administration does, they are always met with a wall of idiocy, because they know there are enough people that don't understand basic civics, enough people that aren't personally freaking invested in doing the right thing to take this seriously. We need people who want to get results. We need you voting for people like Chantel Brown. We need you voting for people like Sharice Davis. We need you voting for senators like Ralph Warnock and John Ossoff. We need people who are going to do the job, because there's a lot of work to be done. There's a lot of stuff to undo. And we can't do that alone. I'm going to get ready to wrap this up. Thank you so much, Glass Jaws, for sitting in. I know a few of y'all will probably be upset that you missed this live, and it's okay. I will be back on Friday. This was a really rough one for me. I hate talking smack about my fellow people. I hate having to put this kind of negativity on our community. But when people are character actors, and when their character action destroys any good faith we have towards causes that directly impact us, no. We honestly, exactly. It doesn't matter who's sitting in the Oval Office if our Congress isn't doing their job. And welcome to the chat, Phil Fay. Thank you so much. I'm about to wrap this up, though. I got to go make dinner. I'll be back on later on tonight, probably playing a little bit of DDO. If you follow Glass Jaws. He is an amazing DDO streamer. I love watching him. I'm in his chat often. Honestly speaking, though, I need to just go get some food in me, calm it down, because I'm still a bit hangry. The whole thing with Leslie Mack bothers me, but all I can do is keep it moving. Make sure that I vote. Please have your 4-year plan together and vote in every election, because it matters. But exactly, I think I will go do that. Y'all take it easy, take care, and I will see yous on Friday.